shouldn't be abused. Too many, and that's really true, too many men want to rule over their loved ones instead of leading them by example. Very, very, very important. How will our children know about love if we don't model it in the home? After the lesson, the men filed into the fellowship hall for a special church benefit lunch. They were preparing and serving, and Pastor Clemens and his food committee served up bowl after bowl of chili. Yeah, it's very important. Back up and talking about leadership shouldn't be abused. It is. I mean, we can go, just look back in society and government and some of us in our own jobs. I know, not to pick on the county or the city, but I just know that in areas where there are large numbers of people working together, there are oftentimes, and even in the military, there are oftentimes where people's authority, they allow the authority that they have to just overtake them, and their head becomes so full of themselves that they begin to abuse it, and that's never good. God in His Word, as we're going to read a couple of passages, which was one of Ezekiel's message to the people, is that God will deal with the oppressors. But people oftentimes allow positions of authority, leadership positions, to go to the head to where they abuse it and abuse people in the process, and have been doing it for so long that they feel that it's nothing wrong with it. But God has a way, as dictated in this lesson, that He's going to deal with that. But I just find it interesting looking here at the illustration. And again, the topic, servant leaders, the importance of servant leaders. You could just think in your own life. I'm talking about on broader scales, but you could think about in your own life. All of us, to a large extent, are called to serve and to be leaders, if nothing else, in our own home. And if you're a single, you're called as a Christian to be an example, to lead by example. And not necessarily if you don't have the husband and the wife or the children, you're still called to lead. There's an importance on what you do. In the last part of the lesson, it gives examples to kind of evaluate yourself, to kind of see where you are. One of the questions that was asked in the lesson was that, being mindful of the fact that we're all called to be servant leaders, what does it say about you if you see something that needs to be done, and because you're a servant/leader, do you see it and overlook it because someone else will get it? Or do you see it and you take care of it? We should be seeing it and taking care of it. Taking care of it, because I think that, again, it's the small foxes that spoil the vine. It's those little things that we begin to do in taking quote-unquote privilege, because we are leaders. That's when we fall into a trap. I think that is very dangerous, because then you begin to abuse your power. And we know that there is, I can't recall right now where in the Bible it talks about, but it's somewhere in the Old Testament, but God has a stern warning for shepherds who abuse ultimately His sheep. Very stern warning. So that's not something to take lightly. That's not something that any true man or woman of God would delve into without realizing the consequences of abusing what God has given us to feed. I'm going to start in Ezekiel 34, verses 23 and 24. And again, let me back up for a minute. Ezekiel, his name, one of the names or meanings behind his name is one of stern integrity. And I was studying and I thought that was very profound. We know that there is something behind names, and that was one of the things that it said about him, was that he was a man of stern integrity. And I think that leaders today, many of them lack, I'm just thinking right now in the political realm, lack integrity.
That's true.
They lack that, and it's all about saying what you want to hear to get where they want to be, and then there is no integrity there. But one of the names or meanings behind Ezekiel's name is a man of stern integrity. One of the things that I think we need to know about Ezekiel also is that he was called to be a voice to all of the people. There are certain prophets, Jeremiah 1, and I want to say exactly, as a matter of fact, Ezekiel, Daniel, and John, they were called to be a voice to all the nations. There are other prophets that were called just to speak to the tribe of Judah.